Hello everyone. Wanted to go over the math Accuplacer practice test. I'm going to have 4 separate videos. I'm going to include 5 problems in each video. So we are going to start off with this question number 1. And the question is, which of the following expressions is 5 times as much as the sum of R and S? Now the first thing you want to do is read the problem once. And then after you read the problem once, read it again and start making notes. So when I read it through the second time, I'm going to start making notes about what's what. So first thing I notice is it's asking me 5 times. So that tells me that it's going to be something with 5x in there. And then it says the sum of R and S. The sum of R and S, whenever I see the sum of R and S, I usually think about putting a parentheses around it because that means that there may be some multiplication or division involved after you find the sum or before you find the sum. So when you see that, you just have your R, and the sum means that there's addition. So R plus S. So now I can start looking through and eliminating things. So the first one kind of looks like 5 times R plus 1, but again, when it asks for the sum of, I usually think of something with the parentheses. So I'm going to scratch that one out. The second one, it says 5 plus R plus S. We know that's not right. The third one, R plus S times X times 5. Now that's similar to A, so that's not going to work because you're basically just going to be multiplying S times 5 and not 5 times the sum of whatever R plus S is. So we can get rid of C. And the last one, D, is actually what it is. Now, I know the letters and the numbers are backwards because you have the sum of R plus S times 5. But if you think about it, when you're doing multiplication, it really doesn't matter where the number is located. So what I mean by that is if we had 1 times 2, well, we know that that's equal to 2. And even if we switch the numbers around, 2 times 1, that equals 2. So that's why it's okay that you have R plus S in parentheses times 5, and that is the same thing as what I wrote above where it says 5 times R plus S, the sum of R plus S. All right, in this question, it's asking us what is the solution to the equation. It gives us equation. Now this has fractions and has a variable in there, the letter X. Now they're going to give you a question like this to kind of confuse you. The one thing you want to do and remember is when you're doing equations like this with fractions, first thing you want to do is get rid of the fractions. And the way to do that is you find out what the lowest common factor or denominator there is. And to do that, we find the factors of each of the denominator. So in this one, we have 2 as a denominator and we have 4 as a denominator. So we're going to multiply 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10. And then we're going to do the same thing for 4. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times 5 is 20. So we're going to find the lowest number that both of those denominators have in common, and the lowest number is 4 because we have a 4 on the 4 side, we have a 4 on the 2 side. We also have an 8, but that's not the lowest number. The 4 is the lowest number. So after we find that, we're going to multiply both sides by 4. So we have 4 on this side, and then we're going to multiply this side after the equal sign by 4. So let's go ahead and multiply both. We're going to keep those letters, the variable x, in there as we do our multiplication step by step. So we have 4 over 2x plus 12 over 2, and then we keep it the numbers and the letter in the parentheses, x plus 1 minus 4 over 4, because 4 times 1 is 4, and then equals 5 times 4 is 20. So I'm going to change my color up. Next, we are going to simplify. So 4 over 2x is the same as saying 2x plus 6. We're going to keep our parentheses here. X plus 1 minus 4 over 4 is 1 equals 20. Then we're going to get rid of the parentheses. To get rid of the parentheses, we are going to write 2x here because that stays the same, plus 6 times x, and then 6 times 1. So 6 times x is 6x plus 6 minus 1 equals 20. All right, now we're going to combine, add, or subtract the like numbers on the left side of the equal sign. So that's going to give us 8x plus, because I added 2x plus 6x, and then I'm going to add or subtract 6 minus 5. That's plus 5. That equals 20. All right, now I have to get x on the side by itself, or the number with x on it. So we're going to subtract 5 from this side. Probably use a different color. So we're going to subtract 5 from this side, subtract from 5 from that side. That's going to give us 8x equals 15. And then let me get rid of some of these numbers so I can solve for x now. So now we have 8x equals 15. It's a good number color to use. So we're going to bring that up there. So to get x on the side by itself, we have to divide both sides by 8. And that gives us x equals 15 over 8. So our answer is C. All right, in question number 3, it's asking us, what is the number of grams in 500 kilograms? It's going to go ahead and give us what 1 kilogram is equal to. So when I see something like this, I start thinking about using proportions because it's telling us 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams, but we need to find out how many grams are in 500 kilograms. So when we do that, what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and write our equation or our number as a proportion. I think I want to use black for this. Let's use black. So we know 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. And because we're going to use a proportion, and that actually says grams, excuse my bad penmanship. So we're going to do equals, and we know we have 500 kilograms, but we don't know how many grams, so we're just going to put an X right here. X grams. All right, so to solve for proportion, all you do is cross multiply. So you're going to take the 500, multiply it by 1,000, and you're going to take the 1 and multiply it by the X. So what we're going to end up with is 500 times 1,000 equals 1x. So next, what we're going to do is multiply 500 times 1,000, and I'm going to do this without using a calculator because sometimes they don't give you a calculator in the Accuplacer test. So I want to let you know how to do this math problem without using a calculator. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and write 1,000 times 500. I probably want to make this a little bit smaller because I'm going to need that space there. So that equals 1x. All right, so let's go ahead and do our multiplication. So 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. And I'm using this 0 right here to do the first. And maybe I'll change. Might want to change the number because we do have a bunch of zeros. So let me delete this too, so you know what I'm doing. It makes it much easier. So we're going to do this 0. So 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times the 0 in the hundredths place is 0. And 0 times the 1 is 0. Let me change my color. So next, we're going to multiply this 0. So 0 times the 0 in the ones place is 0. Well, we need to add a 0 here. Then we need to put a 0 here for that first 0 when we multiply this 0 times the 0 in the top 0 in the ones place. 0 times the 0 in the tens place up top is 0. 0 times 0 in the hundreds place is 0. And 0 times 1 is 0. All right, next, I already used, let me go ahead and use this blue. So next, we're going to multiply 5 times the top number. And before we do that, since we're going to be working with a 5 that's in the hundreds place, we need to put a 0 here in the ones place, 0 in the tens place, and then start in the hundreds place. So 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. And then we have 5 times 1 is 5. Then what we're going to do is add all of those numbers together, and that's going to give us 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 5. So 500,000. And that 0 looks like a 6 there. So let's get rid of that 0 there. All right, so we know that 500 times 1,000 is 500,000. So that gives us, let me use that black. That might be easier for you to see. So 500,000 is equal to 1x. And you can pretty much get rid of that 1 because it's not necessary. Because you're going to divide both sides by 1, and it's just going to give you x equals 500,000. So our answer is for 500 kilograms, that is 500,000 grams. In question number 4, it says Robert sells 4 different flavors of jam at an annual farmer's market. The graph above shows the number of jars of each type of jam he sold at the market during the first 2 years. Which flavor of jam had the greatest increase in number of jars sold from year 1 to year 2? So what we're going to do is basically look at this graph and figure out which jam increased by the most from year 1 to year 2. So let's start with the easiest one that I can solve for, and that's going to be the strawberry. So strawberry actually didn't increase from year 1 to year 2. If you look at year one for strawberry was 35, and then it went to 20. So that means that it decreased, and that actually says the word TO. Let me make that a little bit better. So 35 to 2. So that means there was a decrease. So it went minus 15. So it didn't increase. So we can get rid of strawberry. Strawberry did not increase at all. The next one we can do, let's do peach. So peach in year 1 looks like peach is about 8. So it went from 8 to about 12. So that means that the peach has a +4, or it increased by 4 from year 1 to year 2. So that could still be in the running, so I'm not going to X out the peach. The next one is going to be the grape. So we know grape was 25 in year 1, and it went to 30. So that was a positive. So that's a +5. All right, so we can pretty much get rid of the peach because the grape increased by 5, and 5 is bigger than 4. All right, and then the next one we're going to do is the blueberry. Let's get rid of that little mark and get our blueberry. So we're going to use, that's not very noticeable. Let's use a different color, one that is noticeable. All right, so blueberry. So in year 1, blueberry, so they sold 10. So it went from 10 to looks about 18. It's about 18. So it went from 10 to 18. So that means it increased by 8. So now we can get rid of the grape because grape increased by 5 from year 1 to year 2, but the blueberry increased by 8, and 8 is larger than 5. So it looks like our answer is A, blueberry. All right. And question number 5 is asking us, in the XY plane, a line crosses the x-axis at the point of 0, 3 and passes through the point 4, 5. Which of the following is an equation of the line? So when I see this, some things that kind of get my ears perking. I see there's going to be an XY plane. And I also see that we need to find the equation of a line. So first thing you need to do is find the y-intercept. To do that, we have to use an equation, which it's y equals mx plus b. And this b is the y-intercept. So to find that, we have to set y to 0, and then we can solve for b. But we need to use coordinates. Excuse me, the x has to be 0, and we just use different coordinates. And since in this problem, it already gives us a coordinate that has x as the 0, and then we can just use a random y. But this already gave us 0, 3, so we can either use 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, but we have 0, 3 in here. So what we're going to do is the x is the 0, the y coordinate is the 3. So we're going to plug those numbers in here. And we have m, and that's times 0 plus b. And we know that 3 equals 0, because that's what that is, plus b. And if you want to get b on the side by itself, you can just subtract both sides by 0. That's going to give you a 3. That equals b. So we know what the y-intercept is. The y-intercept is 3, 0, 3. So after you find that, you can basically, let me erase this. So we know the y-intercept, the b equals 3. So we know that b equals 3. And let me put that equation back here. So it's y equals mx plus b. And we know that the y-intercept, which is b, is 3. So D has a y-intercept of -4, and C has a y-intercept of -4. But we have, for letter A, we have the y-intercept being 3, and for B, we have the y-intercept equal 3. So it could be A or B. So next what we're going to do is find the slope. And if you don't get these equations on the Accuplacer test, it's best to remember what the y-intercept equation is. So that's y equals mx plus b. And then to find the slope, which I'm just going to write it out first, and then I might have to delete it because I might need to use the space. So for the slope, you have that equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And what that means is the problem already gave us 2 coordinates. So we have 0, 3, and we have 4, 5. So the first coordinate it gave us, that is going to be x1 and xy. So I'm going to put a 1 right there, 1 right there. And then the second coordinate, which is 4, 5, that's going to be x2 and a y2. So now we can plug those numbers into that equation, and I'm going to use a different color. So again, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that's what the slope is. So over here, I probably should write this in different colors. Let me delete this and write it in different colors because I think it'll be helpful for you when we put the numbers in. So we're going to make I'll just put 0, 0, 3. So that's x1, and the 3 is y1. And then we're going to have 4, 5. That's going to be x2, and that's going to be y2. So now we plug those numbers into that equation. Let me figure out what color I want to use. I'm going to use this light blue. So y2, 5, minus y1 is 3, divided by x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 0. That gives us 5 minus 3 is 2. 4 minus 0 is 1. And if we simplify it, 2 over 4 is equal to 1/2. So that means that our equation is going to be y is equal to the slope, or the m, is 1/2 x plus, and we know the y-intercept is 3. So that would mean that our answer is letter A.